You're listening to Room 104. You can get in touch at any moment and time on our WhatsApp, 087 6797 104. Now, I don't know how adventurous you are with your other half or with a couple, or how bold you might be with your private life and your sex life. There is a company that runs certain events all across the UK and is running one and has run events before in Ireland. To tell you more about exactly what they are, Emma Sayle joins us on the line. Emma, how are you this evening?
I'm all right, thank you.
Our Catholic traditional country will be shocked and horrified by some of the events that you're running. But for people who are interested, I know you've interested in this country for these events that you're doing. What exactly do you run? What do you do?
So it's been 14 years, and it's a business called Kittens, and it's all about women exploring their sexuality in a safe environment. And we do parties that, yes, they'll end up with some people having full-on sex, but we also do workshops and talks and educational kind of events and couples weekends away. And most of the business now is a tech business where it's a big online community, and there's a dating site element to it and a social network element. So it's just all about sort of women being in control of their sexuality and non-judgmental environments and having that freedom, and that's what it's all about, really.
So you said this is going on 14 years, and why did you set this up?
I was generally paid off with society. In general, I just felt that it was a really unbalanced patriarchal society we were living, and if men slept around, then, they were given a high five and called legends, but if a girl, who was single and had some one-night stands exactly the same, then, she was sort of the devil and going to hell and, a complete whore. And this basically slut-shamed. And it was sort of, and I just found everything also in the adult world. And I was doing doing PR, and some of my clients were kind of in the more adult industries. And I just, again, saw it was all being run by men, claiming to be female-friendly, but it, to me, it was very, what women want for sex and just exploring their sexuality is very different to sort of the man's world. And that was very controlled by men, and a lot of people in relationships, it was all about what the man wanted. So basically the more I looked, and it was a time when Sex and the City came out on television, and Summers, a high street, sex toy store hit the high streets. And there was this kind of buzz going on. And again, I just didn't see anywhere, online or offline, that very much put the women first. So I was out in Ibiza and I hadn't slept for about 3 days. And I just thought, I went, right, that's it, I'm doing it. So that's kind of how it all came about. And it's just grown. And as I said, we're now classified as a tech business. And we're in 36 cities all over the world. And that's it, really. And it continues to grow.
How did you go about organising your first event? I suppose, how do you start something like that that's so, I suppose, different? You might want to call it even radically different than what had been around.
It was very radically different at the time, and most people I knew told me that I was crazy. And that it was disgusting, and how was I thinking? A lot of those people have now come back round.
Really?
They're still on my blacklist. And to be honest, it was a very simple concept. And their first event they don't need loads of hundreds and hundreds of people. It's not filling a nightclub with 1,000 people. We had 50 people at the first event, and I just, from being out and about in London and knowing a lot of girls out there, and knowing also a lot of people within the whole kind of sexuality sort of sphere, I just put it out there. And the first party had 50 people, and we only did one event every month, and it just sort of gradually grew. And it was sort of, when we launched, it was before really social media had even come into existence, really. I think we launched about the same time as Facebook. And the digital world didn't really exist. So it was all word of mouth and old school networking, and any kind of press, it was old school media. So it's sort of, we've had a love-hate relationship with the Daily Mail for, our entire existence, which is great. I love them. But it's that tabloid temptation. But actually, every time they do something, it actually gets us a whole load more members. So it's sort of, fine. There might be a few people who go, oh my God, it's disgusting. But every time any tabloid or any newspaper or any media writes something, it gets us hundreds more members. So it's just sort of, it's that playing with fire.
Yeah, no such thing as bad publicity, that kind of thing, and it kind of works out for you in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So onwards.
So at that first event, was it a ticketed event that you had to sell? Obviously, was it held in a hotel or a private house, or what happened?
No, it was a private licensed venue, and it was a ticketed event. And it always, from day one, we've always been very strict on the vetting. You have to be a registered member. So I've always had like a website attached to it, a community website where you join. That's just got bigger and bigger. So everyone had to be a registered member and have had submitted photos to show that you're a real person, and bought tickets online. So we've always not given out the address of the party until within 24 hours before the event. So it just it keeps the security of it.
Yeah.
So people just can't turn up and try and get in.
And then you mentioned these are female friendly, but I take it they're open to men and women to buy tickets once they're registered as well.
So every man has to be accompanied by a girl. So what we don't let in is single man. And then we have the rules at all the events, and it's the same rules online as it is offline. That you have to wait for the girl to make the first move, and do online it's you wait for the girl to make the first move and send the first message. Offline at the events, the guys have to wait for the girls at the event to come and say hi to them. And it just takes that kind of predatory testosterone factor out of the mix and very much puts the women out there. It's about them and them feeling in control and them feeling empowered, and that they've got the freedom to do sort of what they want without being judged.
And then at the events, what happens? So if I buy a ticket and again, obviously with a girl, and rock up there and kind of have a look, what can somebody expect when they walk through the doors at one of your events?
So we have different types. We have different types of concerts, but I'll describe sort of the Irish ones. They'll be in private houses. The Dublin ones get between 100 and 150 people. They'll be smart cocktail dress, sometimes black tie. They're always masked. And when you turn up, it's like going into a private house party, and just a cool one. And when everyone's looking really smart and wearing masks, and you have a champagne or cocktail reception. Often we have oysters. And so you just have that kind of reception bit to start with. And then people sometimes we'll have DJs, sometimes we just sort the music ourselves, sometimes we have burlesque acts. It depends what the venue is.
Yeah.
And it just turns into a house party. But if you're in sort of the bar bit or the reception area, you won't see anything. It will literally you're in a house party. Just with very open-minded people. And it's only if you don't wander around the rest of the house or the rest of the venue, you have playrooms, so candlelit playrooms, and it's in those rooms that's where the nakedness happens.
So obviously adults are doing
that's when it's not a normal house party.
That's when it gets,
Yeah, it's that bit that's slightly different.
So when so people are masked, so it's kind of like eyes wide shut kind of situation, is it?
Exactly, just without the weird capes and the men being in control.
And the weird ceremony and the kind of the
mad
stuff
weird
happening.
Stuff. Yeah.
And is there any other particular rules that people who attend these events have to follow? Like, I take it as condoms for everyone if people are going to engage in sex and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have that, and it's at the end of the day, everyone's adults and consenting adults. And also, what you get is a lot of couples who they kind of stick to themselves, and so what goes on between those couples. And a lot of couples, the women in the couple is bi-curious or bisexual. So a lot of them come because they start getting, doing things with other girls. The girls are doing stuff with girls. And so we have that. I mean, we're very strict on phones and cameras. So there's no, we completely ban any mobile phone devices at all from being anywhere in the world, in the parties, but in pockets. And we have security, and we have girls wandering around monitoring that. So, I always say, in 14 years, no one's ever checked into a Killing Kittens party on Facebook or Instagram. And someone will one day. So those are the basic rules. And the whole, the women, the men have to wait for the girls to do the approaching. And that's it, really.
And what has been the feedback from some of the members who have gone?
They love it. A lot of them come back for more. The Irish ones are getting busier and busier, and the online community side for the Irish members is getting, it's getting busy. We have sort of chat groups And we've had to open the extra groups because we sort of have 50 in each group, and they're getting more and more. So we've got loads of Irish groups now. And the thing is, as I said, we have those parties, but then we also have the educational side. So we do girls only talks. We do some men only talks, the art of seduction and approaching girls and dating in this modern world for men. So it's it's across the board. It's not, yes, we have girls at the core of it, but we love men, and we very much, it's about working together and actually understanding how, the different sexes work, that our whole ethos is letting, women have that freedom. So, yeah.
So I know over the years, as you said, tabloids will pick this up and sensationalise it, and I'm sure you've had your own you've dealt with a lot of maybe backlash or controversy, or people who are quote unquote outraged at this and think it is maybe, I don't know, hedonistic kind of stuff that shouldn't be happening.
Loads of outrage. I've some Northern Irish phone into when I went on BBC, I think Radio Belfast, told me that she could feel the devil with me.
Amazing. Yeah, we still do have a lot of that Catholic guilt and shame hanging around, and we still, traditionally, I think Irish people don't like talking about sex. Traditionally, Irish people don't like discussing those kind of things, and would be very embarrassed and as you said, is shamed. And especially, I think, more so as you mentioned, from the female side. But we've had a horrible history of treating women who have gotten pregnant outside of marriage. You know what I mean? So we've a huge stigma and shame with regards to women and their sexuality. So what did you say to the person who called you, said you had the devil inside you?
I told her that was her opinion, and everyone was entitled to opinion. So I would respect her opinion.
And then to anyone else who might be listening this evening, who is kind of just not on board with it and thinks you are still the devil, and thinks that you're...
I say again, it's their opinion, but at the end of the day, I'm not forcing anyone to do anything. I'm not throwing anything in anyone's faces, and I just say that as long as no one's getting hurt, then who is anyone to judge what anyone else does in their private life? It's the same as religion. As long as you're not forcing or politics, you can have your beliefs, I have mine, and as long as I'm not forcing my beliefs onto someone else, then you have to respect what everyone else around you believes, as long as no one's getting hurt in the process of their beliefs. And the thing with sexuality, and to me, it's sort of, I was a science geek at school. I'm science-minded, but I also go to church, believe it or not. My kids are at Church of England school. And I always have done. But to me, sexuality it's what drives us all. It drives every single one of us, no matter what our politics, no matter what our religion. It's what makes us who we are and how we behave. And it's just animal. And to me, it's like, why is that wrong? Why is it shameful? Why is it seedy? When the one core thing that is in every single one of us that drives us is our sexuality. So why is it dirty? And it's things like religion and patriarchal societies that have squashed that and turned it into something seedy and dirty. And when you look back and through the history of it all and how it turned into this dirty thing, it's really obvious to see. So that, to me, it's like, before you judge, really look at, why is it shameful or dirty and seedy? Why? Does anyone with really, those views against it, do they really know why they've got those views against it, other than it's just been drummed into them from a religious angle?
Yeah, I imagine a lot of a knee-jerk reaction kind of to it. It's like, we can't even be talking about this. You should have offered that woman a free ticket.
Yeah, she sounded, I don't know if she was coming anywhere near it, to be honest. Nor was the presenter.
Bring it down and go, we should do a live broadcast from the next one. We obviously couldn't do that. But ultimately then, what is your what's your aim or your goal or your vision for the company and for these events?
Well, we're just, the whole tech side of it has grown exponentially over the last few years, and with the whole Me Too movement and everything that's gone in sort of with females in society and in general, it's just snowballed our setup and the people attending, and more women are signing up. So one thing we are massively growing and investing in is the whole tech platform for all the educational side, so like webinars, the digital kind of educational side, so you can be anywhere in the world and you'll be able to access content and and talks and, confidence workshops and just every tantric workshops, everything from that side. So to us, it's sort of, at the end of the day, it comes down to community, which has been like day one, to build a community that everyone can feel part of.
Yeah.
And that's our aim, is to increase that and increase the educational side, and hopefully have less and less people saying it's disgusting and seedy.
So has the Irish event happened yet, or is it coming up in October? Is that correct?
It's this weekend, I think.
Oh, this weekend?
I'm fairly sure. I should know that. It's definitely this weekend.
And have you sold out? So if there's someone listening who maybe wants to dip their toe in the pond.
There's still spaces, because it's a big venue. If people, there's still time, and they have to register online to be like party verified, and then they can buy tickets. So
and
there's
again,
still time.
What's the website if someone's listening wants to have a go?
It's just killingkittens.com. Yes, as in killing the animals.
Well, Emma Sayle from killingkittens.com. Very best of luck with your event this week. Very best of luck with fighting off the people who believe you have the devil inside you for years to come, because I imagine they're not going anywhere anytime soon. But
it's go big or go home, really, isn't it?
That's it, isn't it? They can take it or leave it. Thanks a million for speaking to us this evening, though.
No worries. Thank you.